20 Disney rides that killed people. Walt Disney World and all the other Disney theme parks are filled with magical moments that are hard to explain with words. Due to its massive size and several theme parks, Walt Disney World is commonly the most famous destination among Disney fans. Although most people don't like to admit this, there have been some freaky accidents at Walt Disney World. Disney does its best job to cover up any terrifying disasters, but normally information leaks to the public. With all of those complicated rides, something was bound to go south. Today, we're going to take a peek at 20 Disney rides that killed people. Space Mountain. There was a horrible incident that occurred at a space-themed roller coaster in August 1971. A woman became unwell after the ride and could not get out of there. The woman was hardly conscious as they took her to the hospital, where she went into a coma and passed away. A week later, they found that she had a tumor lodged in her brain. This was the third time where someone with prior health conditions had died after taking this ride. Roger Rabbit's Cartoon Spin. An incredibly graphic accident occurred in September 2000 when a young boy tumbled down from the Roger Rabbit ride and got stuck under another car. As he suffered critical internal injuries and brain damage, the 4-year-old lost his capability to talk and walk after the incident took place. He passed away 8 years later. The State Division of Occupational Safety and Health reported that employees failed to secure Brandon's lap bar efficiently and ordered the park to make the changes needed. Splash Mountain. The Splash Mountain water ride is extremely fun for all, but this 37-year-old man took it too far and got out of the boat halfway through the ride, saying that he was feeling unwell. Sadly, he slipped in between the boats and got pinned under the logs as he attempted to escape. An approaching boat hit him, badly injuring the man. He was then taken to the emergency room where he passed away hours later. It's a Small World. This might sound shocking to you, as you may wonder how someone can die while taking a ride as mild as It's a Small World. But it's true, people. A 22-year-old woman with prior health conditions lost consciousness after going on the ride and passed away soon after that. What I find really upsetting is that she took the cursed ride on Christmas Day of all days. Mission Space Disaster. This traumatizing event could have been avoided if this 4-year-old boy was barred from joining his parents on the ride. However, the child met the height requirement, so he was allowed on the ride. The boy was unconscious as the ride came to an end, and paramedics tried to revive the child, who subsequently died at the hospital. The medical examiner's office explained that the boy had died in a pre-existing heart condition that caused his heart to be enlarged. Primeval World. This awful incident happened to an employee of Disney. This unlucky individual fell from the elevated platform of Disney's Primeval World in November 2007, knocking her head and experiencing severe injuries, which later turned out to be lethal. Due to the accident, Disney later announced a new sensor system to detect people in off-limit areas and ceased the ride for everyone's safety. Expedition Everest. In 2007, a man riding the Expedition Everest lost consciousness and was taken to the nearest hospital, where he turned up dead. The doctors discovered that the reason for his death was the weakening of his heart muscles, which made it hard for the heart to pump blood. Disney stated that this was a death caused because of natural causes, and that no one was to be blamed. Skyway Station. A 65-year-old Disney employee, Raymond Barlow, was present on the platform when the other employees switched the cable car. Unaware of the fact that he was there, sending one of the gondolas towards him and sweeping him off his feet. Barlow tugged into the compartment and tried to raise himself. However, his attempt to save himself was unsuccessful as he fell on a flower bed 40 feet below, suffering heavy damage and subsequently succumbing to death. Tom Sawyer's Island. On one awful evening of June 1973, Bogdan, Dolores, and his 10-year-old younger brother snuck in and hid inside Tom Sawyer's Island after the closing hours to have some mischievous fun. But trouble struck as they attempted to swim across deep waters of Rivers of America to get out. Bogdan tried carrying his brother on his back, but drowned halfway through the lake. In June 1980, Philip Strand also suffocated in Rivers of America at his graduation night party. Seven Seas Lagoon. Menacing alligators would be the last thing one would expect at a children's theme park, yet it was exactly what turned up in taking the life of a 2-year-old boy who had strolled around into the white sand Seven Seas Lagoon in Florida in June 2016. The body was discovered the next day. Since the demise of the child, 226 alligators were captured by wildlife trappers from Disney World property. People Mover. On August 21, 1967, an apparently harmless ride that was to transport people across the park led to the demise of 17-year-old Ricky Wilma. Ricky was trying to jump between two moving cars as the ride was going into the tunnel. He missed the landing and tumbled down on the tracks and was run over by an approaching train. The ride had to be then dismantled to retrieve the boy's body. Star Tours, the adventure continues. A 67-year-old man passed away due to a heart attack after attending the Star Tours ride in Disney's Hollywood Studios. Although there had been some cases of passengers experiencing dizziness and chest pain after going on the ride, reports said that the man had a prior heart condition. If anyone has a pre-existing heart condition, then this ride most likely isn't for them. Disney Float. This traumatic accident occurred at a Disneyland parade rather than ride. During the arrangements for a float procession, the 38-year-old employee, dressed as an adored animal character Pluto, had his foot stuck in the part of the float and got run over and later killed. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration then fined Walt Disney Entertainment $6,300 for breach of safety standards. Body Wars. Although this ride is no longer at Walt Disney World, it was very famous in its heyday and fans still desire its return. In 1995, a tragic turn of events discovered a 4-year-old girl passed out after riding the simulator. The ride was halted halfway through so the medical team could attend to her. She was taken to the local hospital and was pronounced dead when she reached. It was said that she had pre-existing heart conditions before even going on the ride. The medical reports discovered no evidence linking the ride to her tragic death. Number 6. America Sings. In 1974, Disney launched a new fun amusement known as America Sings, which featured a rotating theater and singing robots. On July 19, 1974, as fate would have it, one of the hostesses working at the occasion was killed in a bizarre accident where she got stuck between a moving theater wall and a stationary wall as the show rotated back to its indigenous position. The attraction was subsequently closed down in 1988. Body Wars. This upsetting incident happened at Disney's Epcot Center on May 16th. The 4-year-old Linda Baker died in 5 minutes when she went on the Body Wars ride and was taken to the emergency room by the Disney workers and her mom. She passed away very shortly after that due to cardiac arrhythmia. The doctors reported that Linda had an inborn heart defect. The intense experience probably triggered the arrhythmia. Rock and roller coaster. Unfortunately, we have another death here on account of heart problems. The 12-year-old Michael Russell appeared unresponsive to his family. After the rock and roller coaster had stopped, his dad tried to give him CPR, and he was then taken to a hospital immediately, where he died shortly after. Although his parents asserted that Michael was a healthy child, the medical examiner found that he had a congenital heart defect. Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. Disney's Big Thunder Mountain Railroad is one of the biggest rides, but its past can't be easily overlooked because of its inadequate maintenance and neglect. The train glided off the track in a dark tunnel in 2003, wounding 10 passengers and killing 22-year-old Marcela Torres, who experienced severe blunt force trauma, multiple lacerations, and internal bleeding. An investigation took place later, and the report stated that the wheel assembly keeping the lead car on track had fallen off. So crazy, right? Sailing ship Columbia. This traumatic accident happened out of the blue on December 24, 1998, when an iron cleat used for tying ropes plummeted Disneyland's Columbia sailing ship, landing on a 33-year-old Llewellyn Fee Dawson's head. Dawson sustained heavy damage to his brain and was brain dead for a few hours before being taken off life support. A lawsuit was issued against Disney, which was settled in court, and the family was reimbursed $25 million. Matterhorn Bobsled. Matterhorn Bobsled is one of the oldest attractions in the park and holds the spot for Disneyland's first fatal accident. The first ever death in the park's history happened in May 1964, when one of the passengers unbuckled his seatbelt and stood up on his seat as the ride was going to plunge. The 13-year-old was unable to gain his balance and fell onto the concrete mountain, sustaining severe head trauma, which led to his death hours later.